Chanabe Mandin Yamala, so the Zojan Delusion. One day the Lamar and Boji and Dagi Juro Benediction. Garden Jembe on the goes on to you, what do they do so? Good morning, everyone. Huh? The Sunday, 13 years, sound too much down the food. Food was Shogwe, Sound and Grow, Shogwe Shodarish, Congbena, Sound and Grow, Chujugan. Chujugan, Sound and Yelegaro, Chujugan. Shogwe Sound and Congbazam, Sound and Sunday Chumadi.
I can smell the leaves burning. It's like incense when they burn it. I used to do that in the morning in Tibet. I used to have to get up and light the incense. So that reminds me of that.
제가 춘주강 내주도 되네요. 야고더라.
Yeah, it's not, sometimes nice when you think of those moments when you're young.
다 먼저 저들이다. 먼저 메시 지도 저거는 대어로 다 먼저 지도는 대어래 김장난 대어래 니들다 삼바 상보지 전에 대토비나 아니 가리나 디그로 거래로 삼바직 삼바 상보 네 학월도 다지 셴변 삼바 상보스나 셴라 펜도시야 그 삼로 근데지 유에 전에 아니 대토비나 메제 니마직 기회용으로 니만이 둘다 또 다와도 쓰네 메지세야 되다 먼저 메지스니 깨는 오라로
Yeah. So today, thinking that we are in the context of this life, in society, in family, and if we can stay in that sense with a good-hearted approach, a kind heart, then things tend to go well. That kind heart means that one has like a concern for others' welfare. And then if one is able to live like that day by day, 1, 2, 3 days, weeks, months, then that is a good way.
다 셈바 상부 지에다 아주 코데오도 알아. 다 셈바 상부 지에니 네 소원거나래야다. 냠내스 그래다. 가르쳐 그래서 라빈데. 세상 아주 디다 난낭배 흉나네. 파진 두기 냠내스. 다 아주 쇠배 냠내. 그래서 시기 요래 드링로. 소바 키싱다 데 쇠바 단다 데 견속하셔야.
사바
가셔도 가셔야 당고 먼저 쇠발에 책디 배주 쉽지가 알아. 다 나라서 지도 수수 쇠바세하기 더다 가르가르 지기나면 먼저 낭박이 다 뭐네 쇠바세하기 된다디 간대질 고고요래. 근데 이 낭세로 가려래. 띵하나서 안초응어가 나라야 아니 냠내스나래 간대스 배주 지기요래스.
Okay.
Yeah.
So be a kind-hearted person is easy to say, but to practice it in the context of this life, how is that done? From the perspective of Buddha Dharma, we have the 6 perfections, 6 paramitas, one of which is patience. Now, that patience, there are a lot of words that can be used to describe it, or how one would describe it in your society as a convention, but also from the perspective of Buddha Dharma, what is the meaning of forbearance and patience? What are its attributes? And furthermore, how do you cultivate that perfection in this life?
제가 소발라디 강에 퇴비나래 미신다 그 투주 담이나래 가래 제외나 수수쌤 쌤 마투버치지 냐투버들라 소바스 거다.
Okay, Gisela. So by definition then, What is forbearance, patience? It is whatever difficulties you're going through, whatever struggles with others, you never lose your mental peace. You don't get perturbed. That is patience.
다 데라 예와 숨샤고로
Yep.
뇌질을 치면 예배서 동에 단례서 다디 기생한서 둔다 망부터 살아요.
Yep.
다 드린이 출렁 있음 있어 봤어야 돼. somebody 저 셔야 되겠다. 드린 봐.
So we could say those practices of patience, forbearance have three levels. The first one is when you're patient in the face of harm or an aggressor. The second is when you're patient with life's general sufferings. The third type of patience is when you are patient with regards to your spiritual practice, your result.
다 뇌질을 치면 예배서 wasn't 수술해야다. 되게 뇌질하면다 직두자라야로 다 근데 근데 예배 가도라. 아니 람상다 직셈 람상 미팅아 두자들 라고도 말아버시대 삼발 흘려지 냐제 아니 규젠다 딱 미팅아를 내가 제고에 줌젠 카르레와 내놓으래 미팅놓으래 삼무단 규다 균제가 삼무단야디 담베이나 당불람상 삼바마투벌에 배편도요레스와 Oh yeah.
The first type of forbearance, of not getting upset in the face of harm, let's say someone comes at you with harsh speech or whatever, but rather than retaliate or get upset automatically, that person said this to me and being affected by it, one has a relaxed mind and one just thinks, okay, so what are the causes and conditions behind this happening? Is it coming from them? Is it coming from me? And in that sense, doing that kind of deeper analysis of the conditions around it ripening, well, there's less reason to get upset.
아니 미신다든데 말아서 미신다게 직두자 랍다 람상 콘도사로고 여러 하고도 말아서 망고지 소셜 미디어다 든데나라 아니 다들 수 페이스북다 든데래야 아니 탐스 마데나나 콘도사로라
Yeah.
탐스 때나 마데나 카레여레라 야 칸레테나라 마틸레나 데체 카레여레라
Yeah. And particularly not just harsh speech, but with social media now, like the thumbs up and down on Facebook. If we get a thumbs down, we might get quite up about that. Well, what's the point of getting up and down about thumbs going up and down?
탐 앞전에 아니 저는 sembaju는 님마다와르스 두텐디라
If thumbs up made you happy, you can hold your thumb up every day and you're happy.
제가 아니 미지 책두자질라래 저런 두자릴라나 두잔 책 말하러
And then out of harsh speech, if someone criticizes you or calls you a bad person, that doesn't make you bad.
근데 이나 아니 미들 배샤데 그지 저나 배야 오르다 저나 배미 점블링나 저나 약셔들이 라더라 책 말어
And then if someone offers you money and says that you're the best person in the world, it doesn't work either. It doesn't make you the best.
그래서 뒤에 칙 컴보질라 이지 체제네 디셈마 마지고 심소다라
What's happening is these dry words upset the mind and then you lost it.
다드네 단다디 쩌셔도 지그르데네 동해 단례가 서발라야 되다 계신 준다 망부로서 하나도 메제나가 강에 담만다 연구래로 강에 연구래 메제나라 가디네 야고치 대토에 개요 말을 가르스나 말아서 중앙망원데 망부 땅차면서 레부탄다 미용거래로 제가 동해 연구래 동해 연배이나 안에 그선 셰브나시 동해기 유두도 상당제 다디 나랑게 랭엠베 레부타로를 세야로다 야나 동해다 강에서라 매우 예배 가둘라 가와도로 말에 헤드 두자시오 수상다랑에 헤드 가와도 고나라도 박외나라도 아니 레베 나라도 가와도 미그 나라도 암조 나라도 가와도 따제라 라도
Okay. And that second type of patience then is when you have to be forbearing to be able to accept general sufferings in life, and this happens, things do not always go well. And often, when karma ripens on us, it is the result of things that have been caused in the past, karmically, behavioral cause and effect. So when you get a headache, it is good to analyze, where is the headache? Is it in the top of the head, in the eyes, in the nose, in the flesh? And if you do this thorough analysis, oftentimes the headache dissolves. You try and find it.
Because I had lots of headache experience. Sometimes I had headache something here, And I thought, where is my headache here? And sometimes go here, Oh, something here, and looking. After that, they said, searching, Laura.
Yeah, searching.
And I was asleep. After headache, I had very good sleeping. looking. 디 따라 가더라. 아니 강예든데 이 상상라. 먼저 심제든데 이 상상라. 포할 정도로.
Yeah.
대동 상상라 스트레스인데 이 저거도 차고차네. 가도 따라. 아니 야야야 되게도 나도 되게 난제데 가가도 상상라 라로다 제가. 당부스서 나라 지금 나자 쉬우시 두스서. 가도 째야 들어와. 먼저 멤버지 라오라 만나서 대나 그도 라오라야. 아니 제가 어디 이금도 상상을 대 야고도 탑란데 야고도 달아.
Yeah, so sometimes when difficulties come, when suffering comes, it's good to do a thorough analysis. Where is the stress? So, for example, you get a stomach ache and you put your attention there, then it appears in the shoulder. And then when you go to see a doctor, you say, I have this pain here. But oftentimes, if you do a thorough search for it, it can't be found.
One time I had toothache. And then I went in hospital. And doctor said, which tooth? Looks all tooth pain. And doctor said, this one, no. This one, no. I couldn't find one. and the doctor, they're very clever, they know, right? Lagwal tsadan hagu da konze, so tuba nasha. Nya hamugo membe hagu.
Tibetan doctors say, read your pulse, and then the doctor would say, oh, it's the sixth tooth. He knew, I didn't know.
Then six tooth take out. Sometimes you take out two wrong tooth, Last year in Australia, my friend, he had this wrong take out tooth. And one day I called him and he said, oh, yesterday I went to hospital. I have very terrible tooth pain. And he went to hospital. And then doctor said this. And he said, yeah, this tooth pain. And this take out and coming back. And then he saw other tooth. Take out wrong tooth. 세상에서 스스 나와도 따져야 오마저는 하고 좀 만나어질은 나자 된다고도 셈거로. 따져야 오마제라 제가.
Sometimes if we don't do a correct analysis, we conclude that a wrong part is sick. We make a mistake.
안데네 단다 딱히시 라이어나면 라이어 말에디 라이어 그래서 먼저 동해 망보 요매 가둘라 아니 미신지 동해 먼저 동래기 냠내던데 치토비나 빼야고요 봐.
동래로.
동해디 미신지 동해던데 나와디 주 거쳐가 해서 되면이나 미망고 팽기돌라고도 하던데서 봐.
And I'm not sure if this was mentioned previously, but when sufferings are coming a lot, self or other, it is good to have a kind of taking on that difficulty with Tonglen. And a lot of people have mentioned the benefits of this taking and giving practice.
Someone say immediately the six gone. Some people say different people, different experience, right?
Yeah.
다디 동해 당ling 서버지. 다 디링 안저 철릉 있음 있어서야지. 둘다대로 다디 강은 다 그냥 서버 전장 대대는 되는 마탄다 대 사대여라.
Yeah. So, and that third type of forbearance then being patient with one's Dharma practice, spiritual practice. So we better get a move on with the patience because that's the last one.
다 철릉 있음 있어버는데 가르서나 하와디 최치도 갈래여라. 베나 지랑서 다 딘데 인진에 강의 춘주딘데 상담이나 지랑서 내 곰자가 도이나나 지랑 톡보다 되지 그 레버 툭차 저 곰자가 도고요 저 부드스 저 that religion follow 치기도 서로 근데 라비인데 지도가 뉴식 때에서 여러 왔고
Yeah, peer pressure.
저도 세요 다도 철릉이 있는지 세변난 도고요 봐
Okay. You know, the practice of spiritual practice is not easy. You think to go and do some meditation, and a friend might say, "What are you doing that for? What's the benefit in that? That's like a hallucination. Why are you following that Buddhist thing, that religious thing?" Well, there could be some peer pressure around that. Those you have to be patient with.
그래서 미 딘데 가를 람나 수술을 편토나 도거다 로
Yeah.
지난주 배워버려 될라 오벤 만체 델레로 델리디 다 삼로 셈게 삼로 단단게 랍자 망부라기도 되네로
Yeah.
당원에 수수 냠내 치듬나 편토 그래다 네 말한저 지조나라 미망볼 강에도 와던다로 modern education 나라 emotional 삼단단단 아니지 초나라 미단 저 근데 최고입니다 안 강에 동해 중도 동해 단에 제단당 서버 검단도 라그면도 알아 아니 저런저 낭미니 라그 말에 낭미니 춘주간라 저런 랍다가 낭미 배터리 니메공 레가도 건다츠 용 클라스 둘로드 강바장마스 나 건도 갈래 카다르 부근ye 샤르 선이 쇼버 랍들 제그레 낭미라니 근데게 라비아 그 두드라요 말에
Yeah.
아니 다 미망고 쉬어질러 단다 먼저 샘게 강에 와야 돼 주제 다가나래 콘솔 카요 말에 콘솔 샘게 아니 삼로 단단게 롭존 제라요 말다
Yeah.
다 저랑도 빼미시 야버다 대 용제 등에디 인가 용제 야버라면 당에 저랑도 직 곰세야 될 도나체 학버도네 낭베게 벽 낭버선 진데나라 로종기 고도 십저를 와면서
Allegation.
콘도 이제 서버 공단에서 간대야 보더라
Yeah.
그래서
Anger.
냠네 제도나 어두즈네 빼야 버려 가고 공부를 해서
And you know, if one can have like an open mind, you know, whatever others say, if that you feel that that is benefiting your mind, you should stay with that. It is good that you have come here, in a sense, with an open-minded attitude, and because a lot of what's happening here is advice for the mind, and if you really practice it, there's benefit to be found in that. If we look at modern education and society, you know, we have to work with our feelings and relationships. And thirdly, we have to take on difficulties that come. But somehow we might not find advice how to do that in society. We might not even find that at the level of the family, because in the family we're so busy working, studying, caring about the kids, washing, eating food, and so forth. And sometimes the trouble is exactly that. We're doing all those things, but there's no chance to hear how to handle difficulties. Well, in this context, meditation can be of great benefit, particularly if we look at the tradition of Tibetan Buddha Dharma. We talk about this thing called training the mind, which is really about how to deal with things such as anger and to be able to bear them. Forbearance.
I learned a lot dealing with the people. I was become monk 21 years old, right?
Yeah.
And then before I dealing with the people, I live with my grandparents, my family and my auntie, and my father, mother. They, um, we are so lucky we don't have TV that time. We go to bed maybe 8 o'clock and very early, and then my grandmother talking story. And we don't have power, we don't have TV, we don't have nothing, music, nothing like that. So peaceful life, And then all the time, grandma talking, need to be kind, be kind, and how to count other people. For example, some stranger come our house, and then we now ask name, where is come from, what's your name. We now ask pass it tea, pass tea, and then your grandma say pass put other people's cup tea, put offer other people, and then your parents last put your cup, this this taught my grandma, I'm here looking, most people looking past their cup. Past their cup. And some good people, oh, would you like some? Nobody say anything. Ding. No one say, would you like some tea? Very hard to try like that here. We need learning these small things, small things, and makes big difference. 제가 낭미즈네 장어디 랍자 시오레더라.
Yeah, just the simple advice of being in family.
아니 다저 곰잡디 렐라와요 말해라. 곰잡디 테스트 줬단 거래. 아니 당보거를 빼문나 그래 곰득 잡디. 둘이 잡았다. 테스트 둘이 잡아라.
And then meditation is not easy. It takes time. You get pains in the knees. Or sometimes you have to push through.
아니 대단 야구마데나나 아니 you meditation posture like that, and you saw here, and you sometimes like that, and you saw here, you need to stand up like that. It's not easy, right? 아니 세상 철릉이 생기 쇠바사도 두저라 당보 동해 스테이지 여바타 갈라는 파죠 추죠나 연구 말아 동해 데스 그 가득 되나 아니 간담질라 검용으로 아니 야고여로 당보 수부대단에서 인지니어리 아니 되네 검자야 되고 녀마다와르시 지 쇼괴 주주지는 까마 주지 ngaze 중화ze 무티제 잡던 마체베체로 에 쇼괴체스는 나야 니공 주주들이라 돼요 간단 니마징나나 곰체는 마체바체 잡토베이나 는 빼고 다무 곰시서 와 다무 곰시서 와
So that posture is important. Just little things like that about being patient and dealing with or forbearing little physical difficulties and staying through them, not moving all over. So then once one gets that sense of posture, then the next thing is to have a sustained practice to meditate every day. These small increments of 5 minutes, just 15 minutes, every day without break. That's very important. And if you miss the morning, try and do it in the afternoon. What's important is that you don't break this continuum. So therefore, it becomes a habit, a good one.
Then you can watch your mind, First, don't try to controlling your mind. First, you make a habit your body. Sit down, calm down, be quiet, less busy, Most people think here, busy means success, I'm busy means I'm success. This is completely wrong. If you wonder your body not moving, what are you doing then? Very hard. I have some friend. They look after one 96 years old person, and then they still dementia. Dementia. They don't remember most past and not much future, just present moment. And every day every day, 3 o'clock, body moving, busy. Because they every day, 3 o'clock, they gardening, walking, running, like that. State dementia, mind don't remember. Physically, habit, moving, looks a little bit crazy, And other people don't know, what are you doing? Their habit, busy habit. Mm. Di nengi lin sa dere to lu ji nengi lin la di kyang lang sho dere ba.
Yeah. So, habituated physically, then it becomes habit. Can be negative too.
Da di la ora. I'm so my life is so success because I'm so relaxed. I'm so relaxed because my mind so peace. I'm so happy. This is your life success. I'm busy. Busy means I think making more anxious, right?
Yeah.
Busy making you anxious. Mm. This is we need change. This is need habit need change. And the first talk speech need change. People say you nothing do, and I'm busy, and then looking nothing busy, just stay there. I saw some people like that. And sometimes I talking people uh, I have learned a lesson, and I need someone together, and I told, oh, could you come please together me? I'm busy. I'm doing something. I'm go out with this. They're not still busy. Someone they do. There's no people not busy. They're talking me busy. 아유, 그래서 비즈디 야구라면도 알아. 비즈 치다나. 그래서 니 로아도 제메 니 로첨부 차나. 아니 비즈 전에 그저 자마도 나 가져오라. 곰자로. 아니 곰자. 아니 곰자도 금시 차서 나는 아니 심라 따지 쳐야 돼. 치료를 따지 마지 심라 따지 쳐. 뒤 금시 차서 나는 아니 TV 다니 두고 말해로. 아니 TV 다니 두고 말해. 아니 셈나라 다 셈나래 때문 뭐부터 알아. 업데이트 단다 제한 거라. 아니 셈가 다다한테서 아니 장기나 아니 대발라만도 저디 대버리샤 디마옹버리샤 디 다다버리샤 근데 시베시 엔단다 대외 지문이 마옹베 뒤마서 아니 셈 다다버가나 샤샤 딱 공부 답랑 워드서 딱 방법 수부 대단 kum시 드네 곰제 kum시 엔드네 셈나 다다한테 kum시 차스나 아니 신도 아니 셈 가나마 다기나 아니 신도 셈기 가와 두고이면 하고 용으로 아니 아주 셈 삼로 쇼 땅거로 간중만중 땅거요로 안도서 하고 용으로 아니 빼미시 잉여다 아니 곰자라 강해제 요마다 추주징이 숨지 잡대라 빼 투주 쭉쭉쭉 러시아로
So being busy mentally a lot is perhaps not so good, but it would be good if one can make a habit out of meditation and then be able to, after being used to meditating, to check one's mind. And this means not looking outwardly, but looking inwardly. And there you have a natural updating the mind. So then once you're habituated with that, you won't need to watch TV, because once you can check and examine your mind, there's a saying that you don't revolve about the past, and neither do you fixate on the future. You remain in the present moment because the past is already gone. The future is full of hopes. So first, make the body stay still, then learn to sit and meditate. Thirdly, the point is checking the mind. So that means, where is the mind going? For us, oftentimes our minds are all over the place, full of all sorts of thoughts. But it's good if we can become first habituated at watching our mind.
And then you understand, you're watching TV, and your mind is making busy, after this become tired, Also, you're watching news and then you upset. You most news is negative, negative. Our problems, difficult. You know, everything. They they say good news. This is not really good news. Bad news. Bad news. Bad news. And then your mind has affected.
Affected.
Affected. If you do meditation and then watching your mind, and then you try, oh, I'm thinking past, or past is already finished, oh, I can't change, you know, your decision strongly. Oh, future, sometimes people thinking too much, future, oh, I buy maybe $10 lottery, then I want a million, then I buy this. Some people don't sleeping. uh, and this stop. And then they keep on the present moment. And you have some peace and relax. You know, then you watching your mind after that, you have peace and relax. Any situation, any situation outside, your mind becomes similar mountain, no shaking. Otherwise, our mind is like peva, some wind coming there, your mind below there. Wind coming there, below there. Similar like peva, like that. If you do meditation and making more mind stronger, then become mind like a mountain, right? Then big storm coming, doesn't matter. People talking, laws, blah blah blah. Your mind, okay. Then really you have a meaningful life, peaceful life. Then you can have your parents, um, friends, your relatives. Then you can have. Otherwise, you can't have because our mind is so delicate. Small things upset, small things happy, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. How can help other people? Maybe you try to help your relative, making sometimes more worst. 그러면서 로봇 제가 제 누르단 식도 어 그걸 하고 되는 거 로충화 돼서 깨지 시에다 돼서 미하고 마시나나 아니 연구면도 알아
Yeah.
콘즈 먼저 깨지 시에 가지 콘즈 먼저 야고 시에는 콘즈 내려도 근데 제가 수수 곰자 네 삼발 흘려요나 네 직 배절을 가르고 요거도 시행으로 와 수수 삼발 흘려면 아니 배절을 가르고 신기 말아 와
There are times when we set out to help, but often the reverse happens. But also, particularly when we connect with young ones, the way we talk is important. How to connect with them. In that sense, it's important that you yourself meditate. Your mind is relaxed, and then you can engage.
아, 당연히 곰시자오라.
So now we will meditate.
곰 님들 잡나 레라이래.
Yeah. It's easier doing it together, no?
예.
We sit together.
다 당만 먼저 굴론 곰자긴다로.
First, we have to set the correct intention.
다 굴론 곰자 내가라니 믹트 좀 샤나 야고요라.
Yeah, when you motivate, you can open your eyes.
믹 좀.
Close eyes.
Close eye.
Close eyes, sorry.
아니 다 드리네 생에 룽하게. 니 자와 가리 저와 되네. 수수자마제 샘진 신라야 편바체도 같이 지긴 삼보고네. 굴론야 고제셨어.
Thinking that today, whatever actions I do, physically and verbally, not just benefit oneself, but benefit other sentient beings, all beings.
아야 다 니만 되네시 저 처에는 야니 강에 야고 두자 가르 충분히 내게 셈바상보디 돌금이 섬에 담자지 요소와
Think that in the context of this life, whatever conditions appear, good or bad, one will not lose a warm heart and make that commitment, strong commitment.
아야 다 가오고 하나지 줄라 탄다 상말로게 던제기다 셈바상부치야게 켈렌체고 인자 네 딘데게 심지 상말로 유네 요래 다 요바디 요바 셴바체 내려와 수수 셈바상부 요바디 셰바체 네 셰바딜 가오고 들어와
Now we should rejoice that we have generated that warmth towards all, kindness towards all. Rejoice in that. The mind has that potential. One should rejoice in the reality as reality.
아야 당도 롱종인다 와 하딜라 게바드 수동보데 하바 kubja kan de nye de so chon so keba su tong bo de mi zum na gu ni ne ya u shu ji dan ane ok su tian de ne su bu na la ji su bu ma de wa ro su bu su dam de wa ro da yun jo de pa shi do wa da ane sem ma ji wa da sim na la ngam da da to ba da tu zo pa shi u pa dan de ne de zo ge ane ji su bu ma de wa da sim ma ji wa de pa tuan song tian je 어두스 롱존의 덴베 에너지 직 수보 흘려서야 당 선바되고서야 답람디 곰데스 님도 자고스로
Now, doing some breathing exercise, meditation, make sure your posture is straight. Those sitting on seats, straighten the back. And then when you breathe in, imagine that the breath fills the body, and so that any kind of solidity or heavy feeling in the body is dispelled, and mentally any unease or thoughts or doubts are removed, so that when you breathe out, there's relaxed body and clear, blissful mind.
어다 옥추 당겨요. 파 당겨요. 시바 지디스디아스라.
Now, just recognize breath. Now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out.
다 옥통은 데스 당라 옥통은 데스 격스다나 셈마이야라야 야가요레 격스다와 신스나 장가전 레 장가 뉴시 자직사고 야잡
Mm-hmm.
뉴시 자직레스나나 야나 마야 장가 레고서고 잡 레고레스나나 아니 셈디 컨데스토 다 스테다 셈시와 데와요 예은란데 지 부구 깨데 제고도 안딜라 가와다 마가와디 야고도 도자도 나디 가고도 삼단지요 말 그래서 울라 삼단 빼하고요
Now, begin with the quicker breaths, the more faster breaths. This helps to reduce mental distraction, discursive thought. And then once you've settled the mind in the quicker breaths, begin to count the cycles. Now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out. That's one cycle. Count up to 21 of those. When you reach 21, go back down to 0. And then just be aware of mind's clarity, peace, and bliss. Place the mind there. And if there are noises, don't think they are good or bad, particularly fixate on them being good or bad. Just watching breath and mind.
다 옥수수 수분하나 가가지 두고 유민팅하나 삼로당 이제 옥수수 파단도 가와도도 수단도 가와도도 다시된 간삼질라 옥도 수분을 차상파 팀배서로지라 아니 동바 동상서로지 왜그런 신스로 텐데 나와셔도나 다가가나 심샤시디스테 근데 연구면도 나는 스스 인게 가도 될라 지 왜그런 신지 요 텐제로 타마들 근데 지금 됐어 잡셔
Now, watching the breath and being aware with your mind, where does the breath go on the inhalation? Where does it go on the exhalation? And then from time to time, watching the breath within the body dissolve and dissipate, and feeling there is like a vacuity, a lightness, in the nature of light. If that doesn't come clearly, think that at the level of the heart, there is the nature of clear light.
dine dinde go gawudi ni shembe chanju sim shembengi shembenji loji ngo yin tiro
That clear light at the heart, that is in the nature of bodhicitta, concern for others' welfare.
odida wadi dasu su sim yin te we gawudi di shen la pendo chini di yin te di gadu ne dasu su sim na la kogwe na su gwe na la ye tengo resro ani gawa gom la ngar da dinde simba sabaji ye tenro
Think that clear light nature of the mind is concern for others, bodhicitta. Rejoice in that and recall that is present.
다 tujun 다 di ngāraṅsū tāndā shokbēgi nī gulōng dāng, lōngzhōng dāng, nī ukchōng tāngācā dā di zū sāmbā shīvā dāng, sāmbā tēmbō sōyā dāng, tīndēgi tāplāṃ hāgwār dī gulōng dī dā ngānsōyagi sīm kawā tōmāntō, lūngāgi chawā kawā tōmāntō dī gulōng
Important, right? So then in the context of doing a daily practice, morning meditation, first to motivate, then to breathe, then to count the cycles, these are methods for mental peace and stability. But most important, the motivation, because how body and speech follow depends on the motivation.
당연하죠. 아니 저게 곰 감anga 주정아 뉴시 숨주 다 투즈를 수수 투즈 녀이는 감마 숨주지 잡 주지 직스 잡는 데라
Marwana?
투즈 메녀즈이나 감마 주데 잡도 그라 다 감마 주도마도 가야라
So in the morning, 5, 10, 15, if you have time, 30, that's good, even an hour. Well, at least you can find 10 minutes. Everyone can, no?
그래서 스스쌤디 시와다 아니 대화다 기부다 릴렉스 거기서 그러 티 거야 단달라 투즈데서 마다나는 거용 그래로
It is a given that we want mental peace, we want bliss, we want the mind to be relaxed. But if you don't work at it and give yourself that quiet time of 10 minutes, how's that bliss going to come?
지난저 수고에 오세야라 가시에 저게 주주 두발라 잼제가 가마 쉽지든데도 배셔되기 봐
Yeah.
데라 쇼다르시 도고도
Yeah.
아니 가시 저랑서 요가 제가 도고데 베셔데고도 데라
Yeah.
데라 모르단 파 도고도 베셔데고도 밀라 베투즈 소고도 투즈 모당고도
Yeah.
곰게데 투즈 딘데 땅 파당 말에 수수대세 나한테라 까마 쭈쭈가지 잡다 딜레장 하거래 오네시나 디 곰야고 자외는 스부데워 대용거래 삼바지워 용거래 삼바지워요나 스부데워 용거라 삼바지워면은 스부데워 용야 그런 요 말에 저런서 잼난 로제 베 스부 타고 쉬어서나 셈 지우면은 요 말에 저런서 요가서 이제 스부 베디 냠부 쉬어지 서셔야나 삼바지워면은 요 말에 삼바디 지워요나 스부 타고 매네 지워요래 스부 냠부 매네 지워요래 so somebody tawoya wuja tele tizu de tang tele beshan de gumendo ro misava modan ni dogumendo su kangwen na gomje de re do di khande le la do one jin ro ti chimodo je mendo one jin.
Yeah. So it is the case that sometimes we get up at 6 to go to the gym. We might go to the gym every day to tone the body or do yoga. And we have to pay money to do that. We have to get in the car and go somewhere. It takes time to go to those places to make the body fit. Or meditation. You don't have to do that. You can sit on your very seat in your place. And moreover, when you meditate, if the mind is happy, the body will follow likewise. There's no guarantee that going to the gym and making the body toned will give you a happy mind, or even with yoga, there's no guarantee. But if the mind is happy, whether or not the body is fit, the mind is happy, then that is good.
Oh, that's it. Ani, that is it. Ani gom, that and that thing on the server come here, va. Drink server the children is in the servers. That's around the cashier Lara, down the Nangbeg, the Gomyanga doilers, and that's around the religion doge racias.
Yeah.
Some cigarette out of what the deck. That is in cigarette.
Yeah.
Was a Tangushena. On the religion mare. On the Tomajende Jumze Tona Kellens. When is it the Tona Kellens? Tian Susu Tajeches. Me Sendrigel Mandos. Jumde Sora. Susu Tajeches. Tajechene. When is it Tungumaduna? Sulamna Shashos. And it Susu seemed to get Jordan like Pinkamaduna Shashos. And then one is the religion remendor, right? Jumzenda, the more easy to do that. Religion Marella and religion.
And then what we are about is being patient with our Dharma practice, patient in the face of Dharma. If friends kind of tease you, oh, what are you going to that Buddhist center for, to do all that religious stuff playfully, then, well, could we really say what Buddha Shakyamuni taught was religion? Because his view was that if something is reality and is within reason, you should follow it and take it up. Don't just follow me because of what I say, but thoroughly check. If it is not reality, then leave it. And furthermore, if it doesn't benefit you, just leave it. So do we really say that's religion?
Tanda Sharanzo the Gugona religion thing do.
Yeah.
Thing you Tanda Sharanzo modern education some religion. Because I understand Ankarefo Tanda Darwin and think you theory professor is a put danger to the jail Judo.
Yeah.
Consolidation to go.
Yeah, so even in the context of the definition of the word religion, we could even say some of the modern views in modern education, following Einstein, following Darwin, following science, that would be like affording them that.
And Tanda around the Jizo Dodan the religion rare. Lobdal dog rest, Lobjoya which have rest, Lobjoya which any lega rest, Laja language, Tine Panaya would say rest, chance jaw rest, and a Kamba jaw rest. The deal Tijan Rodero, the religion redo.
And what about being in society? Is that a religion? We are encouraged to go to school, to study, to get good grades, to get a job. Once we get job, get wages, and then search for a partner, and then buy a house. What about that?
religion 레다.
Their religion.
나 될 누구야 말다가. 나 religion 디 말이지.
I'm not following that religion. I'm not following that religious path.
되니? 소가도 religion 아래.
Soka.
소가 플랜도 딱다래. 건설 랜드시 누구여라. 누마 지켜보던데 지기대요. 디 장제 코디 용구도가 타잔 다시 누구여라.
Football.
소가도 저래. 제무도 맞아. religion 아래도 스타라.
For some, I guess, soccer. What is it? Football becomes a religion. You have to train like that. You have to go.
Someone didn't follow the rule, you know. We not like that. Buddhism is not like that. Follow your reality, natural. Follow natural, natural.
Yeah, follow the natural reality.
And reality man, shower. Jumde de sumbuine. Kellen yo marellarda.
Yeah, and if you find that something is not in accord with reality, just leave it. This is what Buddha said.
그런데 지나서 깨져 망고 쉐어래. 미신다. 저런 다처럼 brainwash 치기려나. 원해잖아.
Yeah, someone could say, "Oh, that's all brainwashing."
다 원해잖아. brainwash 디게래. modern education 디 brainwash 라래다. brainwash 배제도 럽다 도그래. modern education 장고래 럽다 럽데나라. 이 academic 자야미시 지금 메젤 팬도 민도 배셔서야지 그냥야로. 배셔서서는 같이 그래. 배셔서는 가져라. 강바시죠. 강번 1 million 강바시죠라. 안타 가져. 다 이제 원에 미디 닝제다 저에나 지도를 와 제적으로 되면은 먼저 도와도 강번 미가제다. 강바지라 million 제요 강바지 되나는 미지 미니 million 제요 강번은 미지 미니 지고 되되는. 다 가져오라. 이제 교회인데 되그라다 되나는. 교회지요 나가시다. 아 근데 밀레니아 진교 가시 통료예로. 주 민도색도 다뤄. 배샤 밀렌 빌리니아 진교던데 통내. 주 민도색도. 제상다 곰잠나 약셔래로. 배샤 때 말에 스스 삼바지오 용거래. 삼바지오 용나 칼라디 야고 사투 그래. 주 그래. 아니 주 그래. 상모도 와대로. 빼고도.
And even following strictly modern education, that system of being educated, getting a job, getting wages, that solely academic kind of thing, that almost could be a form of brainwashing when you follow that. But then if you look at the result that a lot of people strive for, be it being wealthy, millionaires, billionaires, how many people can live in such a nice house? 1 or 2, maybe? Are they happy? I've met many people with a lot of wealth that don't appear to be so happy. So generally then we could say meditation is a good method that, without having perhaps that commensurate wealth, you could have a happy mind, the food will taste good, the sleep will be good.
다 저런저 롭존 최고 롭존 시야라 깔레테 자오란데 깔레시데 자투문도 안가서 될라 당부 진다리여라나 아니 진다 당부 주나 미 어들레기도 하더네 갈래 아니 미 마마마라도 아니 미싱아
But with regards to studying the spiritual practice, you have to put in some effort. Initially there's lots of people coming along. And as the class goes on, it whittles down. 6, 5, 4. Less come.
This is
really a sign of what we're talking about. That, you have to be patient with this spiritual practice. Without effort, there is no result.
배낭아에 달로 숨지 자랑 로도로 안친다 갈래자 롭존체 단달 롭존체가 여러 삼로 투제네 공로 데데 잡치기 제단 로 숨지 공게 삼로단단단 단대 삼로단단 개와데스 또 개와 가진로 셔와 용마이나 미딘데 계지지 라브다 람상 삼바 짜용고 팅사 미 가르라나 아 셈바 툭미 측두자 가르라나 셈바 툭으면 들어 아 소베냠네 타르친 벌레들 라그메델레 달 로숨지 로존체 둠데 테스 도스라 아 페샤 로숨지날 페샤 세제 데비나 녜심들 조든데 도토 마레세
It takes effort. The 30 years I've spent studying this. And then from time to time, even now, when there's time, I read the text and meditate. So, but if I look at how I was 30 years ago and how I am now, some changes there, little changes there, and the fact that whatever others say, my mind is less moved by that, less upset. I'm not saying I've perfected patience at all, but, in those 30 years, if I had made a living, like got a normal job, would I have been the same?
아마디 로숨주 콘다 미튼데게 직직 람상 내용도 콘도 사용도로 다 단다 직든데 가르라비네 진데 콘도 사용도
30 years ago, if people had spoken to me with harsh words, I would have got irritated straight away. But now, not so.
카둑 팔 렌장에 팅사 다 렌장 팬더니게 샤제 거라서
These days I could answer back, but there doesn't seem to be much benefit in answering back because no one listens.
가가 대셔야 될 약속이라
Sometimes the best response is staying quietly.
그래서 저도 세베 냠리는 루요다.
Yeah, so those are the practices of forbearance in there.
아니 다 약속이 중나 쇼베 가즈랑 거라 추지야라 투즈동 거라 건다 가즈니 쇼베 가즈랑 토이나 아니 곰자야 곰시디 약속도 쇼베르바 저런서 카셰미 쇼베 주주 숨바시와도 랑지 빼야버도다 아디 곰시디 소야라 깔레시우 총로와 세럴랑도 주주 주주 당분이월 많이 그러바 네 쇼베 주주 다 룽아마다 타와사베 걸나다 주주 숨바시와 랑고레 고철 로로와 근데 로정아질라다 야 시니에 차차로와 근데 다 데제 쇼베서 로마로와 네 주주 툭바 둠바 공싱드네라 제와 구어든데 녜데로 쇼베 주주 툭바 둠바 아 주주 툭바 둠바 란디네 데 건다 치고 데 쇼베 치고 라야 데 장란쇼네 로다 로뉴시자단데 데로 데레네 쇼베야 나올라야라 컴시스 다 팅산 틱스 라야 야르도샤다 팅산 컴시다 칼레라 차용도 데서 당가즈 란투도 팅산 제 추즈 건다 추즈 주어주지다 년이 좋으면도 나버렸다 단단 나버렸나 추즈 중이 당고질 하로다 건다 주원이도 쇼베 주울 나올란투무다로 제가 당보디 저런도 곰문에야 우치 장이는 당분이에 될 틱두서 그래로 건다 망아지니 쇼베 가질란다 쇼베 내가 말하고는 곰 잡토비는 빼야 고요다 쇼자 맞아고는 차지동 커피동 거는 자동 거는 직동 브레이크파스트 마세 군데라니 가마 주종은 유시지 카줄라루도 제 아니 곰디스 잡 아니 되는 브레이크파스트 아니 내가 두고 있는다 곰시디 차베는다 빼야 고요다 당부 곰시딘데 소거다
So it is good to make the habit, if you can, to wake up early and go to bed early to meditate. It is not easy. When I think about life in the monastery, as a beginning monk, at the initial stages, we had to get up 3 or 4 a.m. to go to Sog, the ceremony where we pray together. But slowly you become a senior monk and you don't have to go to those early prayer meetings. We could get up 6 or 7, or even during, if it was a holiday, sleep in till 8 or 9. So we got habituated to that. So with me here, then sometimes it would be easy to sleep later at night, and 10, 11 you're still up, 12 you're still up. We got into the habit of not, and when that happens, when you go to sleep late, it's harder to get up early, isn't it? But if you want to meditate well, it's often the case that you have to get the sleep right. So if you can sleep early and wake up early, that is good. So that in that way, for example, before you go to work, you get up early and you wash your face and hands. Before breakfast, you have a cup of tea, and then you meditate and you make that a habit. That would be good.
당보 드즈 kumshi 드즈 속으로 디 곰자니라 discipline des course 슬러와 직속면나 아니요 말에
It is good to make good habits. The meditators have to have self-discipline, otherwise it doesn't come.
디야 왜요 kum시 수수수 직속으로 보시 소토비나 아니 kum시디 차거와 당 철능 있으면서 봐서 되더라고요 최최도 그 직속제 딱다제 딱 강에 동에 대해서 요약할 안 될라 두그리 때문에 무티치다 아니 간사함질라 또 kum시디 차원데 장갈 아니 되네 엘레 최 지하라 강에 전에 매버 차서데 아니 상로 다야 그저 여러봐다
You know, when you are trying to practice Dharma, spirituality, one has to make it a habit so that you are stable and whatever comes up, good or bad, you still practice. So when that becomes habitual, then there's a place when you can start to go deeper into mind.
곰제들레 데 미지기 찍다 그래서 레 당보에서 기겐 담만에 망보시라 땡겨요 말해봐 당보 내가 공부 싫음 야고 맞아서 기겐 찍으란 되네 야가 아 대직된 화직된 수직된 야직된 마직된 아니 감사합니다 아니 배데 가서 직서파서 룩된 요소 차세 저는 딩동 말대 딩마도 상마 룩된 요 차로다 죄송한데 당보 찍대 아니 찍대를 무투 제로다는 그런 베이직 차용 거로 봐 야게 내자 야고 토블레스나 아니 개겐다만 덴베이나 아니 거 여제도야라 빼미지 jogo 여러 제가 당보 개겐 먹고 내야다 아니 유튜브 나네 담만도 시다 닌여요 말 먹보냐나 대 야고도 간단질라 아니 베디 식도 장마 좀 식도 봐 잉면 요차로
And as a beginner meditating, it's not advisable to keep changing the method or teacher, you know, rely on one or then take a bit from that one, then take a bit from that one. Then the pieces become scattered like a jigsaw and the puzzle's never finished. It would be much better to have a steady approach where you take one method and you stick to it as your basic. When you are familiar and good at that, then you can approach other teachers. Otherwise, if you don't, then everything becomes like mixed up.
제가 꼴롭데 공부직당 개개치기네 미 개개 수수게 생각한다 탑라면다 요의 인자 공자다면다 탑라면다 직 조시 직외이네 고 다면다 요래라 수수 요의 인자 디 당부 가서불러 녀야데 야고요 말에 대토 말에
And that's because within one class, within one method, even there the teacher's going to have their own, you know, way of doing it. So if you keep changing and going to lots of them, it's difficult to settle.
제가 출렁이 엔데네다 베자라고 곰자나 단단한 곰자게 고 짠장로 디짠장로 담메데 시라로죠 말봐 엔데다다 덤베기 남다도서 데스 로베이나 야고요 또 오늘 중요로 하고 덤베 남다 좀 중원에 중내네 그 냠린 체베르 디마 티셔드 그래서 로 아니 그 공부 거도서 맨다 아니 참바던 왔다 반당한도 쇠바인자 아니 쇠베 리우도서 쇠베 거도서 망보 로야당 아니 저 지긴 아니 셈나라 템보데도 그러 셈나 템보요나 아니 강행고 스테인데 아니 참바데야라 겨와도 셈미셔서 지 코디 어디야 그래테 이 양자 삼론날 메디상 제일다 강행고 스테디 아니 데 탑랑데 참바마세오체 펜토문도 알아
It's good to thoroughly know about meditation and to train in it. But it's also good to look at the biographies of the great masters, the sages, because, like Shakyamuni Buddha, because these are accord with reality. How did they practice? How does one practice? And then cultivate from one's meditation loving kindness, great compassion. Read about the patience chapters, the advice on patience, because we are wanting the mind to be stable. And, having a stable mind means having stable recollection, the retention, the mindfulness, so that when difficulties come up, you know how to apply. If you don't have that mindfulness, even though you've studied something good, when difficulties come, you'll forget it.
아주 말하면서 매제 나라와 매제 딘데게 아니 시림 럽정로 다 낭배 중네 직생강 고당 아니 따르고 고당 안 단다 직쇠배념리 고다 로정고 고든데 로기나 매제 코나로는 로차가만 로 숨지자란 줄로다 나빼 망불로질 하데셔스로
Now these steps, these sequential steps of mind in the context of this life, when we look at Buddha Dharma, there's studying the mind, there's studying the view of reality, and then there are these mind training practices, mind training, patience, and so forth. This is a lifetime's work. It is lifetime.
Don't
worry, when you're retired, you'll still be busy with this. So if you guys are claiming that you're retired with no work, come and see me, I'll give you a job. We're gonna study till we die, no?
낭배슈네 수부 먼저 수부 줍단 계셔도 이제 두제 제네 투버리 두진 타모도 파주 투요만 라이도서 롭좀 쉬어셔도 알아 문제잖아 두도 시치기나 알아.
Yeah, when studying about reality and mind, even within the Buddha Dharma teachings, within the body, there are these subtle particles, and when they're in harmony, when they're harmony, just on that level you can study. And this is in line with the fact that all things are going through momentary change, all compound things are impermanent.
다 다리 둔다데 간서 최랑 있으면 있어요. 다 직곰자야. 다 최제세지. 최제세야지도. 최제세야디 딘데 팅아치 타제 콘딜라게요 맞다. 최제세야디 낭배의 최제 심교와 당성다. 심교와 당. 봐. 최제세디 심교와 당나 저랑게 수수 심교와 당에 당론전에 저랑 최지기요. 다 딘데 라고라 팅아치 인데 둘로딘데 공 따샤 근데 내는 심교단 달면 최지게요 말이다. 근데 저선 최지해야 돼. 고등한테 심바죠 우리 결혼으로.
And in that context, we should think about in the following week, what does it really mean to be patient with Dharma practice? What does it even mean to practice spiritually? It doesn't mean to wear robes and have a mala. Certainly not. The essence of the practice within Buddha Dharma is to change your mind, transform the mind. There's a method for that. So if you wear robes and have a mala but don't transform your mind, that's not practice. But if you have a method to change your mind and you are applying it, then you're practicing Dharma. Yeah.
먼저 낭바세기도 낭수디 치면 낭심 심디 교다야기 탈란들 낭배 추에서다 거든들 낭주세.
Yeah, when we talk about being a Buddhist, a Dharma practitioner, really the word means to be an insider, meaning that you're not focusing outwardly, but you're working with the inner mind and how to change that. That is by definition Buddhist.
어디네 다 다리 둔다디라 아니 다 지곰자야 돌아야 깔레티스죠 아니 딱 해주시 심교다야들 배전데서고요래 봐 아니 심교다야 배전 체베이나 다 최최를 최최고 두고요 다 빼면서 야고래 봐
in the following week then to put some effort into meditation. The real thing is to be able to change one's mental attitude, to change one's mind. And if that takes place, that's great.
어다 디시 다디네 당한조 드는 건다 아니 저런 정도 많이 가라발라 건다 많이 가라발라 아니야 다제신 다들이 다 주바단단 데려 봐 다제신을 봐 다들이게 셈 두자직 돈에 밀라 너바 카르카르카르 계서 만디고 카르카르 쳐서 디셰베체 다디레마선 아니 줘바체 줘샤체로 봐 디도 줘바체고 땅문에 쟁고로 디도 레베네 주 누구도 이 차상직 쟁고로야 tenene pesa sonsan choba chasane da sanine nga ngemba de gang yang ja du men sam tamja jikcha da dine ne yo da tena shube nge gulung gomja ende che da mi shin le pen to nga rang semba de lulu ji nya to tering me ze de pe ya bo shu ji chungso ni ma de pe tandan den ba chungso ro ji pen도 예배 내가 지 치도 sonsan pen도 chena 심나는 가와 용거래 라나 가와 용거래 미신라 가와 용거래 로 펜도나 펜베 대부 대화 인식도 밀레 펜바디 대부디 대화 용거야 나랑 정말 대화 되고라 안 되게 대화리 그래서 다 배미시 야고 총성상네 어다 산이는 게 딜레 망아지체 하방 게 개버사셔거든요 로아심지 신담제를 디기 용하쇼 찬주 쌤 겨쇼 쌤지 잠블링 시대 용하쇼 수수 겨와된 거만 야고체 산이게 지린을 하게 곰자당 최치에 샘바 주어 당도 같이 있어 배차샤나 저랑 알아동이 있나 되는 중이네 다 드링 알아동 거면서 된대래다 그러 이마지 드링 알아동 거면서 드링 닥스 사거이나 람산 닥스 제기 말하지 드링 닥스 사거면서 아예 밀에 찍도 잘라거든요 드링 밀에 찍도 잘라면서 된대서 야리제 당고래 성들어
로정. So then tonight, before we sleep, we check our mind. That is it, isn't it? The changing mental attitude just by checking how the day was. If there was fact that you harmed others or upset them, just recognize it and kind of reflect, okay, so I did 1, 2, 3. There can be regret around that. The first thing is to recognize faults as faults and then to resolve to not recommit the next day. That's important. But then conversely, if that day has gone well and you've been relaxed and within your meditations and so forth, you've been able to benefit then your life that day has been meaningful, then the point is to rejoice, isn't it, in self and other, because it is said that the result of benefiting others is bliss, and we all want that, happiness. So then you make the thought, may I do even more of that the next day, bodhicitta, may I be altruistic as well, and rejoice in that. And it is the strong resolve. For example, perhaps today I won't take that alcohol, I won't immediately take those drugs. Or if I'm used to speaking harshly to others, just for one day, I'll resolve not to do that. And this is how mind can change.
예, 다 아니 경서관서 건다 모두 단제도 컨트롤 밀이야 룽딩이나 드링아 밀 룽딩이면
And those of you who get a bit upset when you're driving your car and then think, today when I drive, or tomorrow when I drive, I'm not going to get like that. Yeah, because if you train day by day, it becomes easy, then it is habit.
Yeah,
so that would be a practice from morning till night.
But
also, basically, don't think too much. Because if there's a lot of thought, it revolves and sleep is lost.
근데 내가 건조 가시 알아야 니후야 탑람 라브로치 니후문도 러도 네 패지 그러나서 연락이다 제가 듣자 뭐 제가 저를 수부갈래 가지고 그래서 저랑서 나라 저와 가된다 내가 지하면 먼저 쳐돌으셔 먼저 쳐돌을 내가 지하면 막도 내가 지다 야 리가라 야 바가데 마도 잠저갈라 파 바가데 수도 저저 용데 장마스 신자네 메도도 제 개도 짜제 제더네 추저 찍대지 배데 내가 후다보다 제도 깔래가라 건다파 날레스는 니죠 뺏고 그래서
So playfully, sometimes when people say to me, I can't sleep, what is the method to sleep? Then I kind of say, well, make the body tired, exhaust the body. So instead of going up that hill and down that ocean, you can come here and do some gardening. And then you will be tired and you'll have a good sleep.
So more meaningful, you know.
More meaningful than
Walking, running, water point, you know. Just here, walk, benefit, you know. More making merits, you know. Both benefit. You have exercise, making merits, and people become happy. Next thing you come, I did this, and you are happy, you know. Oh yeah. 당연히 디 개와사와디 개와 납진사야요. 하나 상말로 삼바상고체. 다시나서 독스타디 심 주어다라 대화에 녀만 거에 대해서 등에 심 주어단 거라서 상말로 고역 역시도 저런서 빼미시야 그래서.
So the virtues are the waves of virtues we've accumulated now, we will dedicate it, and that you have a kind heart or concern for changing your mind. I validate that. I'm happy with that.
If we're talking, you need changing mind. Most people are talking. It looks a little bit promise. That's good. Good. Yeah, because
Promising sign.
the 야고 통고도 있어요. 디 야고라면 네 랍자디 쳐다치더라.
Yeah.
쳐다치 핑기도 민도 따다. 핑기도나 라렌체 핑기도나 라렌 따르고 말해서.
Yeah, I mean it's one. If there is advice from me, then check it out. The point is to examine it. If it's beneficial, take it up. If not, just leave it.
왜 당은 저 오면람 시로 당은 저 단다 개와사신 되게 되네. 저 dom제. 점블린 시디에 당 개지슈에 단다디 러시아나 유그는 마데다 간조죠 타죠 단다 야고면도 내다 야고 춘면도 하베 단 미망고를 강에도 와라. 강에 시에서다 그런저도 강에 점블린 코나라. 강에 당아랑저도 세릭다 놈다 근데 놈 콤파나 상호 콤파로 열어. 근데 간다 창문을 강에 튀기도 하간다 봐. 먼저 뒤에 열에 가서 빼지 민이 받지게 창문 뚜루당 그래서 봐. 민이 받지게 창문 맞집어서 그래서. 세에 받지게 수분한 게 코과 창문 뚜루 그래서. 지나시 민이 받지게 창문 맞집어서 그래서. 민이 받지게 맞집어서 정말로 소구다다. 세상 안저다 닝자다 건저 닝제 유를 갖고 고란 디고 쉬우직 사고 여러 부된 거 배다 디고 쉬우직 사고 어다 미다가절 강에 태 세든 그 빼미시 디고 사 닝제 유차로 누컬 콘도사지요 말 닝제죠 안에 마데 간조요 타셔야다 안에 단다데 나자데 다야 야 파르게 위해서 마차게 위해서 디에 바 간조요 지다 매버 차도야 안에 하고도 당안아서 개체슈에 미싱강 레야지 참바당 저와 레토비나 아니 샘기 강에 망고 쇼지 란슈고 세로고요 지금 치기 강에 난게 강에 창마 미상매 줄래야 생광 단당 알아서 곰잡아나 신세제네 디리네가 샘바 상부 치기 밀레 편도 치기에서 점블링 미상매 근데 삼로 담배이나 점블링 녀그러 용에 민도 한번에 신으로 제가 디인도 딘데지다 미상매 줄래야 샘바 상부 전주 심지 겨셔 삼바상부 닝제 제와지 제외 심지 겨셔 삼 먼저 겨사신 줄 어떤 데서 말함제 응애되는 마 지카시 뜨로
Now we will gather these. We've created some good energy, some virtues. We collect them. We dedicate them for world peace. There is problems and conflicts with Russia and Ukraine. from which so many sentient beings are struggling now. We can just look at it, on the ground level of oil and that sort of thing, or gas. It is like the analogy of someone that eats something bad, goes into the stomach, and the whole body is upset. Like that, one person can have such a negative effect on other people's lives. Really, such a person becomes an object of great compassion for us, that they have created so much non-virtue, not to recourse to anger around that, to have compassion. And may that fighting cease. Then COVID, it's going up and down, isn't it? And round. May that become no more. But mostly, thirdly, may the minds of beings in the world be fused with kindness, the great compassion. Because really, if the living beings of the world had concern for each other, that warmth and kindness, then there'd be none of these outer and inner difficulties. For example, if people had an attitude like us that were concerned with bodhicitta, there would be no problems, just concern for others' welfare. So we will dedicate that occurs, that those beings, all beings, produce such a mind.